Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live. Today I will be doing an improvisations, basically doing like a 3D carving using two of my favorite tools, BoxCutter and GridModeler. Okay, so they both are really powerful add-on. So I'm gonna have two default cube, right? I will do a comparison. The first one, I'll be using BoxCutter. So this add-on is switch on now, and I can simply do a cutting. Okay. It's pretty basic, pretty simple, but really powerful. It really basically like a Boolean modeling, but with a lot of things hiding, like such a feature like instead of using boxes, you can use other shapes. So I didn't have like a full grasp on the tool yet, but I know the basic, and I think it's really fun. And really, if you ever do like a 3D modeling, and this is just like a different kind of 3D modeling, look at that. You can actually do like intersections, and BoxCutter is actually non-destructive, and it will build like this history cutter that you can later revisit. If you look at the modifier, look at this. You can go back to the original. And you can see all the steps. Pretty cool. All right, so the other one is GridModeler, which is actually works similar, but it works in the edit mode, and it's slightly could be simpler. So you work in the, for example, in the face area like this, and then you right click and then select GridModeler, and you pick up the grid and you start drawing on your grid, and you want to do cutting, and it will do a cut for you, and that's pretty much it. And you can select the depth, so very similar. There are all kind of modes here, including something that I really like is the pipe, H pipe. What else I will show you? But GridModeler also really cool because you can right click, and then you can enlarge the grid outside the area, and you can start drawing. I think BoxCutter actually able to do this as well. So you can make a cut like that, or instead, you can also create face and do an extrusion. So you don't need to worry about topology if you are modeling this way. You simply like placing and putting shapes and try to find the form. It's a very unusual, very fast kind of modeling. Now I want to make something, so create Susan. Oops. Okay, just to get the front view, and then file, save as Zen. I'm gonna write something. I'm gonna make like a planning. I create a grease pencil. Let's delete all this cutter and go to draw mode, increase the radius and the strength, and I will write. So I'm gonna work here in Zen, and I'm gonna try to carve something based from this. I don't know, just for fun. And then this could be connected. Although I don't know yet. Maybe. So I'll create a cube. We position it so it's covering the text. Go to edit mode, 1, 2, 3, 3 selecting the face. We can pull it. And yeah, we can do the carving this way using this reference. So if I'm using BoxCutter, I think BoxCutter is fun. It works in object mode, while GridModeler works in edit mode. Which one you like? Which one you prefer? I'll start with BoxCutter, I guess. It's already in N-gon mode. By default, it seems to be snapping on grid, which is really cool. Okay. Try to concentrate a little bit. So I wish that's kind of doing the snapping. Okay, it's actually doing it. It's making an N-gon. It's doing the slice. Let's see. It's drawing it like grid cutter or like GridModeler. Maybe I should focus on just one instead of trying to do everything. I mean, with the grid cutter, with a box cutter, we can do this very, very easily. So at least I know how to do that. Well, yeah, that's okay. I apply all. I'm gonna turn off grid cutter. I turn off box cutter and now switch to GridModeler. So I shouldn't use too much to it at once. Let's get into edit mode. You can see it's pretty clean. Now I want to work with GridModeler. Selecting faces, right click, GridModeler. Let's see where I want to cut. There, something like that. This is actually really fun and quite therapeutic. When doing this, you don't need to think too much. Spacebar doesn't connect. Interesting, that one actually failed. Let's try doing this. Yep. Right click GridModeler. Let's do this one. Q, I assign GridModeler there. So improvisation on this letter. You can actually do something a little bit fancy, like for example, I'll try. So from the top view, I'm selecting one face, right click, GridModeler, and I'm gonna draw square, spacebar, W, and then D for duplicate, and then increase the number, and then cut. That's really fancy, very cool. Right away, we have something that's a little bit more 3D. So this letter from the side, from the side is pretty boring. It's actually, I found it. I think something like this, box cutter is easier to make a cut. Yeah, interesting is actually doing make. I should select the object first, I think, and then I click on there. Okay, yeah, I understand. Okay, got it. Now we have something that's more 3D. The writing is still doesn't look like Zen. I'm still in grid box cutter mode. I can do a cut. Seems to be snapping as well. I don't mind. But if you keep things on the grid, it's gonna look a little bit nicer than if it's actually kind of off. Now it's we have N. We don't have Z yet. Yeah, cut. It's a little bit better. Maybe I switch to this. It's pretty sweet to be able to do that very quickly. There's something that's almost like a spaceship, or if you make a cut from here, let's try apply all, delete all these cutters. We end up with our default cube. This pencil can be disappear now. Now we can go to edit mode. Let's see if I can still use GridModeler. Right click, GridModeler. There's one function that I really like, is the pipe, but for now I will draw another shape. Spacebar, W, D. Yep. I really like this function. Okay, cool. Let's do like something fancy, like a pipe. So with a pipe, look at this. Right click, GridModeler. I can increase or decrease this grid. And then I can start drawing. Hit spacebar, and 9 is add pipe. Okay, hit 9. Look, we have pipe, sort of. I forget but I just, at this point, I just gonna rotate it this way and then manually move it in place. But there is a way to rotate it properly and to add the hole. If it's a pipe, we need to have like a circle, things like that. Circle, GridModeler actually have some cool circle tools. Right click GridModeler. I want to switch to circle. C. You can draw a circle. D. Oops. Okay, C and then click. W. D. Same thing. But because it is on grid, I think it's nice. You can do it that way, like doing a cut. You can reduce the depth. And we can model like useful inset. And then what is this? Extrude face along normal. Inset again. Extrude again. Okay, those kind of things, like the basic modeling extrusions. Now we have worked Zen really good. So let's get rid of the shadow, the slope. Zen. What else can we do here? Pipe. And pipe. This kind of detail is actually super interesting. Especially if you add duplicates. It feels like there's a purpose there, you know, like a stairs or something. Let's see what else. Let's make more cuts. So still, you know, GridCutter, GridModeler, and I'm still pretty slow while doing this. Takes some time to get a hang of these tools. This kind of edge, you know, sometimes you just want to break the squareness. You can also play with the boundary offset. There's also intersection mode. Pretty interesting. Yeah, I can spend a little bit more time on this, but what's cool with I think with GridModeler, we can work, for example, in this mode. Okay, especially when it's slanted like this and you want to add some details. So I can do a cut like that, or I can create face and extrude. Maybe scale it down. Command L, duplicate. So like that, it's pretty cool, right? It's adding extrusion, and you don't need to worry about the topology really. Yeah, at this point, I really wonder, maybe I should just switch back to BoxCutter and do the cut from object mode. This one can really create interesting design. Yeah, it's it. Sometimes BoxCutter is also doing this, similar to GridModeler. It's actually drawing things, which is not bad. It's, it's now you have an extra objects that's kind of on top of each other, and that's really just like Blender owns tools. Blender, you can draw, cube, and just stick details like that. This is like really like I think of it like a graffiti, It's a freeform 3D modeling. I know I'm not like super good at this yet, but I'm learning every day. I'll get better with this modeling. I used to use NURBS for modeling. Yeah, not too bad. Now it's, with some greebles, and you want to break the squareness as much as possible, and it's gonna look nicer and nicer. Maybe adding texture. Alright, so that's really the basic idea. So BoxCutter and GridModeler, both of them are add-on, paid add-on. BoxCutter slightly more expensive, around $30 or less, I think. GridModeler is around $10 by Kushiro, BoxCutter by Master Sion. So with BoxCutter, of course, this is like non-destructive. So there's an advantage there. But now this is like, we get like separate objects. We can separate them or just join them into one. The fastest is to do like a remesh. It's not, it will make things more like a modern looking with smooth edge. Maybe you want this, maybe you don't want it. I thought this kind of looks okay, but it's a little bit too roundy. Sometimes you want to keep the edge. So there's a slow bevel. This is another add-on. I think it's Kushiro makes this free. It's doing the bevel for you. It doesn't always work. It tries its best to do a bevel for you. So I think this is okay, just like for final finesse. You want a bit of hard edge, a little bit of rounded edge. This one gives that. But I think my favorite is really the pipe and really things like circle. Yeah, that's really cool to be able to do that. All right, hopefully you'll find this interesting and useful. Let me know what you think, what you create with this kind of technical modeling. It's not usual way of modeling. It's unusual and can be slightly tricky. There's a learning curve, but once you understand it, it's really, really powerful, and you can make things really easily. All right, so hopefully you'll find this useful once again, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.